What's up, guys? Welcome back to part 8 of the series. And this is where we left off at the last video. So this is our working game so far. Let's collect that coin. And we basically fixed our jumping and added our running animation in the last video. So let's play that game one more time just for fun. And then we can pick up where we left off. Get that last coin and move on to level 2. Okay, so let's get back to building the game. I got my Gemini pulled up, and let's see where we can pick things back up. So the one thing I want to do is see if we can quickly make the running animation a little bit faster, because it's not entirely clear. It feels like it's kind of running kind of slowly. So Ask Dude, which is the name of our character that we selected, uh, is sprinting, but the animation feels kind of slow. Can we move through the frames quicker? Should be possible, and let's see if we can actually figure it out ourselves somehow before we ask Gemini. Let's dude run. Um, maybe in the animation speed. Okay, so speed. I see speed here. Let's do 2 and see if that. It does look a lot better than if I had the speed to 1. What about 3? Yeah, I like this a lot better. So just want to make sure that this is the right way to do it. So let's grab a screenshot. Uh, this Gemini felt kind of slow. So let's see. That's due to sprinting, but the animation felt kind of slow. I changed the speed to 3, and now it feels a lot better. My question is changing the speed property here the correct way to do this, or I was gonna say achieve this, but to maybe achieve the quicker animation. Awesome. So our animation looks a lot better, and I'm happy with the speed of 3. What do you think about the breathing? Should I increase the breathing animation as well? Wait, where did I change it? Um, idle. Okay, okay. In the player, what is it? Animation controller. This is where you change the speed. So for the idle, let's try 2. See what that looks like. I think it looks a lot better also. Yeah, great. Okay. So for idle, I'm keeping it at 2. For running, keeping it at 3. Okay. Back to Gemini. However, it's worth noting the alternative method in case you ever want the animation speed to change dynamically based on how fast the player is moving. Um, so, for example, walking slowly versus sprinting, the dynamic alternative parameter multiplier. Right now, that speed property in your inspector, you can see a checkbox for multiplier. Let's just quickly take a look. Multiplier. Okay, right here. I do see it. If you check that, you can pass a float parameter from your script, like your actual movement velocity, to drive the animation speed. That way, if the player tilts a joystick slightly, they walk slow, and if the pushes fully, the animation automatically speeds up. So, since we're using digital on-screen buttons with a fixed move speed equals 8f, your current approach of hard coding the state speed to 3 is perfectly fine and highly efficient. So now that the mass dude's horizontal movement looks crisp, we should definitely add some jump and fall animation states so he isn't running while in midair. Let's let's go ahead and add the jump fall animation. Okay, so let's follow these steps 1 through 5. Let's quickly run through them. Step 1, slice the jump and fall sprite sheets. So let's get back to our assets art main character. Mask dude, we got jump and fall. So select both jump and fall. So control click. And the sprite in the inspector configure them exactly like the others. Sprite mode would be multiple. Pixels per unit would be 32. Filter mode would be point. Filter mode is point, already selected. Compression is none. Compression none. And click apply here. Done. And just to compare on the ones we did before, make sure they look exactly the same. Yep, looks exactly the same. So selecting both again, fall and jump. Now we need to open the sprite editor for both. So click on jump first, maybe. Can we do both at the same time? No. So one at a time, jump, open sprite editor. But jump doesn't have jump or fall. Doesn't really have the bunch of different frames that we do on the other ones. So it looks like there's only one frame for each. But double jump has a bunch of different frames. So let's go back to Fast Dude and let's go back to Gemini and let Gemini know that there's only one frame for each. So just open Sprite Editor, take a screenshot, and go back here. So paste the screenshot for step 1.3. Okay. For this step, it seems like both jump and fall only have one frame, so we can't really slice them. And you know what? I'm going to hold off on to even giving this prompt because it might be useless. But let's just move on to these steps because I think all it's going to say if I paste this is, hey, just move on to step 2 and 3. So, you know what? I changed my mind again. Should I just move on to step 2 and 3? Yeah, and forward. Wow. Okay, good thing I asked. So because the sprite mode is set to multiple in the inspector, Unity would still expect at least one defined sprite boundary box to recognize it as a sub-asset. So to handle this cleanly, click the slice drop down at the top, leave it on automatic, and click the slice button. This instantly snaps a single bounding box perfectly around max dude. So let's just go ahead and do this. Cool. So just click on the slice drop down at the top and leave the type to automatic and click the slice button. Done. Wait, why does it look kind of weird in terms of these lines that just popped up? Can I undo? Yes, I just clicked Control Z. So slice them by using grid by cell size. Open the sprite editor. So instead of grid by cell size, it wants me to do the automatic one. So, okay, so let's just go ahead and do that. Okay, done. And apply. It does change our width to 24 instead of 32. So I don't know if it's going to cause any problems, but you know what? Let's just move on and find out. So from jump, let's go to fall. Open sprite editor and slice. Leave it on automatic. And click on slice and apply. And then close it out. So now let's move on to step 2. Instead of creating complex, I wonder, you know what? I wonder if I should have just changed the sprite mode to single, like whatever, instead of multiple, whatever. Um, Single. Yeah, I wonder if that would have been the better way to do things instead of slicing the instead of doing the automatic slicing there, which changed our dimensions. Instead of creating complex individual frame selections, let's move on to step 2. And the slice jump sheet, we don't have a slice jump sheet, so we can skip that part. Um, so just without slicing anything, just click on jump and drag it onto your player in the hierarchy, to your player right there. Whoa, not there. Okay, cancel. So jump, let's try again. Drag it onto the player, not below. No, again, problem. You want it on it, not under it. So, yeah, that's becoming a problem. Why am I thought I'm dragging it properly. I don't know what's going on there. Let's just close it out and drag it on like that. I don't know why it's just creating this instead of the animation. Mm. Okay, I'll try one more time, and if it doesn't work, I feel like it's not working because there's only one frame there. So, oh, should I drag this guy? Maybe I should drag this guy, not the image. So expand on the frame and drag this guy onto the player. No, that even that is not working. Select, drag, anything else I can do to drag it to the player. No, it just keeps on. It just keeps on creating a jump object in the hierarchy. So follow it when I drag the frame to the jump frame to the player. It doesn't generate an animation clip, but just creates a new object in the hierarchy. What's going on? Okay. All right. So we gotta manually create the clips. And the second question I want to actually put in there is instead of editing, the second question I want to put in there is should I just move the should I just change the sprite mode to single instead of doing all this? Somebody's at the door. I'll be right back. All right, so lost my train of thought. Um, I was gonna ask it instead of just slicing the single frame, should I have set the sprite mode to single because automatic slicing seemed to have changed the 32 dimension. I'm wondering if this will cause any issues. So yeah, that was your recommendation. So not seeing, it's not saying it can cause issues with the pixel art if it trims away empty space when you use automatic slice. This is so dumb. Okay, let's just do this. Option A. So we're gonna open the sprite editor again, set the slice to cell grid by cell size, set it to 32 by 32, slice, and apply, and repeat it for fall. Sprite editor, slice, grid by cell size, 32, 32, slice, and apply. Done. Okay, cool. So we got clean 32 by 32 frames there that match the other ones. So delete this guy. And yeah, we went with option A. Now let's manually create the clips. Sorry, I had to find the exact response. Let's follow along these steps and also step 3. So step 2, manually create the clip. Select the player object in the hierarchy. Open the animation window. So go to the top menu, window, animation, animation. Top menu, window, animation, animation. Okay. In the left corner of the animation window, click the drop down that says Mask Dude Idle. Okay. And select Create New Clip. Okay. And now we're going to create Mask Dude Jump animation. So this would be called mask dude underscore jump. Save it. And we're gonna do the same thing for mask dude underscore fall. Done. Save that. Step 3, add the single frame. Okay, so let's get a exit out of this one. Make sure the player is still selected in the hierarchy. It is selected in the animation window dropdown. Animation window dropdown. Okay, so we got to go back to animation, animation, and in the dropdown, we are going to select Mask Dude Jump. And we're going to drag our jump subsprite. So this frame right here, expand the jump and drag this jump sprite from the project window directly into the right hand timeline grid. Right hand timeline grid. So here, what the hell? Timeline grid. Okay, let's try again. A little diamond keyframe will appear. So let's see what it looks like for the run maybe. Okay, so it's gonna look like that. So jump. drag, drop here. Okay, so yeah, we see that diamond, little diamond keyframe. So let's switch to mass dude fall and do the same thing over here. All done. So mass dude jump, mass dude idle. Idle and jump looks pretty much the same to me. Idle, jump. Did I drag the wrong clip? Because this does not match what we have there. But if I just change it to fall, okay, maybe it's just not changing at all. Anyway, I think we grabbed the right frames um, to the timeline. So now both animation states officially exist in your project files. You can safely pick back up at step 3 to draw your transition areas inside the animator window. So let's go back to step 3. Step 2 is done. Step 3. So open your animator window. So go back to animations layer. Oh, this is our animator window. So yeah, if you double click player, this is what's going to open. And we have our mass dude jump and mass dude fall. On the left side, go to the parameters tab, already there. Click on the plus button, select Boolean, plus, Boolean, and we're going to say is grounded. Okay, is grounded. And the other one, we're going to do the same thing, Boolean, yVelocity. Okay, so I'm assuming if this is negative, that's when we do the fall animation. Because, you know, that yVelocity is when you're coming down. And, oh, okay, so this one should be not a Boolean, but a float, so I just deleted that. And click plus, click float, yVelocity. And now moving on to step 4. Transition to jump, any state to jump. So right click any state. Right click any state. Oh, okay, okay. I was like, what is he talking about? But okay, I see what it means. Any state. Right click, make transition. And select mass dude jump. And click the transition arrow and configure the inspector. So click on the transition arrow. And has the exit time unchecked. So it is already unchecked. Transition duration should be 0. Duration. Where is the transition duration? Set under settings. Transition duration is 0. And conditions is add isGround equals false and yVelocity is greater than 0.1. So we're going to do the conditions. We're going to add isGrounded equals false. And we're going to do And how can we do and? Y velocity is greater than y velocity is greater than 0.1. Okay. So how do we know if this is an and condition? I would assume it's just automatic since there's no way to change it to like or. So anyway, let's move on to the next step. Transition to fall. Any state to fall or jump to fall. So right click any state, make transition, and mask to fall. And let's do here, click on the arrow. We're gonna do exit time is already unchecked, so transition duration should be 0. Conditions are gonna be isGrounded equals false, I would say, yes. And y velocity is less than negative 0.1. All right, turning to the ground. So now let's move on to this section. When the player lands, we want to go back to the ground loop. So right click, mask dude jump, and select make transition, and click mask dude dot idle. When it returns to the ground, we want it to go back to the idle state, so back to the ground loop. And right click mask dude slash underscore fall, and click make transition, and click mask dude dot idle. So same thing there. Where's the move tool? Wonder how we can move this thing a little bit. It looks clunky, but anyway. Like both of these landing areas individually. So this one, start with the fall to idle, and set the has exit time, uncheck this, and transition duration is 0, and conditions is grounded equals true. So when you go from fall to it detects that you're now grounded, you go back to idle. So same thing, mask dude jump to mask dude idle. So click on this arrow, has exit time, you uncheck it, transition duration should be 0, and conditions should be is grounded equals true. And now we're going to update our script, which is our step 5. So now we just need to pass our ground check state and vertical physics velocity into the animator parameters. Open your player controller script. So go back to scripts, player controller, and we're going to update our update function. So update. So here's our update function. So inside our if statement, which if you remember, the if statement doesn't strictly need to be here. but we added it because we like some defensive programming just to avoid running into any errors. But if you don't want the if statement in here, you can just get rid of it. Should be fine. So we're just gonna add these 2 lines of code just underneath this section here. So let's copy and paste. And what this does is pass jump and fall parameters to the animator. So anim dot set boolean is grounded is equal to is grounded, and set float. We're setting the y velocity that we just defined to our velocity. Save the script and head back to Unity, hit play, and jump around. Master should now leap into a crisp jump pose, shift into a falling frame at the peak of his arc, and snap right back to a run or idle state the moment his feet touch the tile map. So let's put that theory to the test, but first we gotta wait for this to compile. All right, all done compiling. Now let's run our game. Scale this. Okay, run. And let's see. Jump, fall, jump, fall. That's pretty clean if you ask me. So it jumps, it falls, jumps, falls, and that looks pretty great. Look at that. Cool. So that's it for this video, and we'll see you on the next part. I will see you on the next part.